Tio, please.
Hey there, it's Theo, bringing another Kerbal Space Program video. In my last few videos, I've been sending different missions to Duna, and in this latest video, it's time for me to send a reusable uh, lander that I can send down to the surface with at least a crew of 3, and eventually be able to set up a base. I want the ability to take my Kerbals off the surface and bring them back down, back and forth, so we're going with the reusable approach. Tuna's atmosphere is not really thick enough to go with a Kerbin style SSTO. It also doesn't have any oxygen in the atmosphere, so lifting surfaces and air breathing engines are useless. So going with the vertical takeoff and landing rocket design, and I'm gonna play with some different fuel tank and engine options. You want a good, healthy thrust to weight ratio on a lander, especially one with that's going to be used around a celestial body that has a decent amount of gravity. So I typically go with anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 thrust to weight ratio, and that's in atmosphere, obviously. So you got to make sure you're selecting that from the little tool down at the bottom. So usually when I'm doing a build like this, I'll set it to the celestial body, in this case Duna, and then I'll set it to in atmosphere, and then I'll also set it to out of atmosphere just to see what my efficiency is going to be. But going with the Dart engines, those have pretty good thrust to weight in and out of the atmosphere. Um, some of the vacuum engines obviously wouldn't perform very well on the surface of Duna, so landing would kind of be problematic. But I like to have the ability to land under just the thrust of the engines. I don't want to rely completely on parachutes. The parachutes at the top that you see are really just because I'm lazy and I want to be able to pop them and slowly descend without wasting fuel. So you could do a suicide burn and have no parachutes if you were skilled, which I'm not super comfortable with doing that. I don't have any mods that allow me to calculate what my suicide burn time would need to be. So there you see the lander's pretty much done. I need some RCS thrusters that give me the ability to dock with the station. I've also got a little path there you see in the center of the rocket so that I can ascend and descend using ladders, which is always a consideration. Sometimes I'll put a little command module at the bottom of the rocket somewhere where the engines and whatnot won't burn it off, and you can kind of cheat and get a Kerbal into there, and then just transfer them to the module on top. Assuming there's no physical path in the rocket for them to actually climb the rocket, so that's what kind of makes it cheating. But anyway, use the ladders in this case. Then I've got my little transfer stage and my first stage, and a typical takeoff, relatively efficient. Probably going a little too fast in the atmosphere, but in my sandbox mode, I don't mind. I don't mind that. I'm not paying for this; it's all free. I don't have to worry about funding my missions, which is nice. I can just kind of do what I want, make the rockets as efficient or inefficient as I want. So there you see I've got my approach lined up. Now I'm going to go ahead and circularize around Duna. There you see Ike, nice. And yeah, so didn't have enough electric charge to decircularize my transfer stage, unfortunately, so it's going to tumble around, but I can obviously delete it from the tracking station, or also have it set so that debris is instantaneously deleted, so I just can set the vehicle to debris. Now let me try to dock with the station. You can see the little spaghetti action happening with the station. If you've seen my last video, I had lots of problems with that, just because it's so dang long, and I guess the docking ports going to make it flexible as well. So I went ahead and transferred my engineer. An engineer will allow the drill or the material converter to work more efficiently. It's going to work a lot faster, which is nice. So you don't have to wait too many in-game hours, in real life minutes or seconds, to get the rocket refueled. So I'm trying to go for the landing zone that my little helicopter drone picked up in my previous video, going for somewhere around that crater. preferably close to the drone. We'll see how close I can get it. And like I said, I'll use the parachutes. You do have to remember to set the parachutes by default. Their altitude deployment is going to be way too low for Duna. The atmosphere is not very thick, so you need to deploy them much earlier to get them to slow you down sufficiently. But so here I accidentally broke up one of the nose cones on the bottom of the jet, on the bottom of the rocket. They're really just for looks anyway, so I'll probably use my engineer to pluck them off here in a second. But I've got the vehicle touchdown safely. Let's go ahead and pop those off and leave some debris on the planet. Don't tell anybody I did that. I'm gonna go ahead and refuel, and I think I can get this bad boy back off the surface. I like to go for anywhere from 2,200 to 3,000 meters per second in delta V. That's overkill for getting off of Duna, but it allows me lots of wiggle room for landing slightly off, off my target equatorial landing spot. Sometimes you need to go and rescue someone or whatever. It's nice to have some flexibility in the design. So anywhere from around 2,500 meters per second is a good target whenever you're designing your landers. So this one's got a little bit extra fuel, but let's go ahead and refuel it all the way. We can send it back up to the station. There you see, it looks nice. I didn't go for symmetry, obviously, with the solar panel and the heat panels, whatever they're called. I forget that. Because didn't need to. It looks kind of cool, asymmetrical sometimes. So you see my ascent had lots and lots of fuel, which is nice. Plenty of delta V, plenty of thrust to weight. So I think it's a pretty good design. And this way, when I get up to the station, I can actually transfer some fuel. So this is a lander and a refueler sort of kind of for the station, which is nice. So if I send any other vehicles like little taxis or whatever, I'll be able to use this lander to refuel those. So yeah, that's about it for the reusable lander. This means in my next video I can send down something more permanent, and I'll have the ability to transfer Kerbals back and forth from the surface. So yep, that's the plan. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you haven't, and subscribe. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you next time.